Friend today. And we are good. I'm good. Let's just connect the YouTube. Let the YouTube is up. All righty, crew. Hello, Jill. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yay. Happy Saturday to each and every one of you out there. Hey, Steph. We're going to do a little beginning before our event actually starts because, in-person events and virtual events don't usually run smoothly. So we're just going to jump right into it. There's a lot of people out in the hallway now. They're hitting up the beautiful vendors that are out there. And as you can see to my right, left, I don't know, to the side of me, you see my wonderful good friend, Jill. As you know, we are here to celebrate mothers or children who have lost a mother. The theme of today is turn your tragedy to triumph, because I believe everyone's gone through some type of trauma or tragedy. And I wanted to give some type of light, some sunshine in the dark days. So Jill, in my opinion, is a warrior mom. That's what I call it, as someone who's lost a child. Later on today, I'm going to share my story, but we have Jill today all the way from Texas, right, Jill?
Correct.
She is from Texas. I met her 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago. I'm not sure. Her son was murdered. She's going to tell you a little bit about that. But the thing I love best about Jill, instead of turning her pain into pain and just going deeper down into the hole, she decided to live her son's dream. And she actually runs an organization called the Bakari Foundation. And last year, she does these retreats. And there was 4 families or 5, Jill? I can't remember. 4 families. She gifted 4 families, myself, my daughter, and my mother, a trip to Costa Rica. And it was a transformative trip. It was a retreat. I'm sorry, not trip. Transformative retreat. Absolutely amazing. I was actually looking at the journal book yesterday, Jill. Have you looked at your journal from the retreat? Have you looked at it since then?
Yes.
See, I think I'm scared to look at mine. I haven't read it. I looked at it. I was like, wow, you need to read this, Tina. Because I loved how she had therapists right there in the island in our resort, and the resort was gorgeous. It was just like they catered to you, everything. But the therapists, they did therapy for the family as a group. They did therapy for the siblings, and then everyone had a group therapy. So it was very good. Learned a lot, and she's also gifted me therapy on top of that. So I'm going to stop talking and throw it over to Jill for a few minutes so she can share her story of how she turned her traumedy. I'm going to say trauma. I don't know if you heard of this word I made up, Jill. When a tragedy and a traumedy combined, they cause a traumedy, which is a life-changing experience. And she's had a few of those, but she overcame them. So I'm going to pass it over to Jill. Take it away, Jill.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Tina, for asking me to come and share on such a wonderful weekend for most, kind of a painful weekend for some others. And it's just a perfect day. Today is the 13th, as you all know. That's a very special day for me. It's the day my son that Tina was referring to was actually born. And we always look at 13 as a positive number, not in the negative light that so many people remember it to be. And also, it's the second Mother's Day without my mother. So for those of you all who still have your mothers among you, please shower them with love and affection and just send them all kinds of accolades, because our time here on earth is so short and you never know when that last moment will hit. So anyway, talking about what Tina asked me to talk about, I would say that, as many of the mothers know, we go through life making several sacrifices for our children. And our family was no different. I mean, we moved to a neighborhood where they could have a good quality education, took them on trips that were not just family-oriented trips, but we would make them educational, where we went to museums and art galleries, sporting events, college visits. Whatever trip we took, we wanted it to be one where they would get the most impact so that they could live a fulfilled life and be on the right trajectory for a successful life, and one in which they would be well-rounded and not just be pigeonholed into um, any one area of life. We just wanted them to be the best people they could be and to be good citizens overall. Well, we thought we had done well, we did do that, and then, Bakari ended up going to University of Arizona on a full academic scholarship, graduated, decided that he was going to launch his clothing line, which was a surprise to my husband and myself. We really thought he would work on Wall Street or do something else, with his finance and entrepreneurship degree. Well, he decided that he was going to follow his dream and his passion. And so we kind of asked him what his plan B was. And Bakari said, Plan B is for those who are not confident in their plan A. So we said, well, okay, well, if you know you are that confident in your plan and you have the means to make this happen. Bakari was always one that was coming up with brilliant ideas and ways to make his own money. So he said, yeah, he could take care of that. He just needed to be able to stay at home. And so we said, well, that part we can cover. You can stay here as long as you need to. But we also had our younger daughter who was in college. So we had to make sure that, financially we were able to help her get through. And we had our older son who had already graduated as well. So Bakari went on to travel to Greece, where he wanted to take photos to launch his clothing line. And he actually had been to Greece before and 12 other countries on money he saved while he was in college. He actually started like a tutorial business with one of his good friends that he knew from kindergarten, who went to a different university. So all was going well. He had been sending us updates. As a matter of fact, the last time we had talked to him, which was on July 6th, my husband's birthday, he actually FaceTimed us, showed us, how beautiful the surroundings were, was the first to call because it was always a competition for them to call us on, significant holidays, and our birthdays first. So it's always a competition. So anyway, of course, he won because of the time difference. And then the next call that we received was actually a call from Greece from the embassy saying that Bakari had been murdered. And so, of course, that was devastating for our family to not only receive that news, but to know that he was abroad and had been murdered and actually had been profiled because Bakari was in a club with a couple other friends waiting on another friend to arrive. And they had, I guess, wandered into a Serbian club unbeknownst to them. And not that it would have even mattered. I don't think they would have known that the Serbian culture was, excuse me, not, I guess, as friendly toward African Americans as they would have thought. And so anyway, one of the women, a Serbian woman, took a selfie with Bakari. A Serbian man was not pleased with that, slapped Bakari, and it proceeded to spill out into the street. But anyway, he ended up getting beat down physically by 9 or 10 Serbian and Greek men. So we, of course, had to go through all of the things, getting him back home, all the other trial proceedings, excuse me, that we are still going through 6 years later. And just didn't want to focus on the negative because, we, like Tina said, we could have decided to just, kind of give up, stay in our homes, kind of bury ourselves in our grief, not socialize with other people, and just basically wilt away. But we decided that we weren't going to let Bakari's legacy be that of grief, but we wanted to turn it into triumph. So what we call it is we've turned our pain into our passion or into our purpose. Because Bakari was a person that thought outside of the box. He was a big thinker. He also enjoyed life. He enjoyed other people and other cultures and really just loved encouraging others. So we decided to continue his legacy and actually launched his clothesline as well as the foundation, the Bakari Foundation. So a percentage of every sale from Bakari Luxury Sportswear goes to the Bakari Foundation, just so that we can continue his legacy, one in which he, lost his life for, but also continue the legacy of cultural empowerment and love And we also believe that Bakari wasn't buried, but that he was actually a seed that's been planted, one that is still continuing to spread love and continuing to grow with his legacy, sprouting up globally in different places. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is sometimes we have to watch what we ask for also. So June 1st, 2014, our family was preparing to be baptized together. And there's 5 of us. And so while we were in the waiting area, one of the ministers asked us what our superpower was. And so, we thought about it. And so right away I said, well, if we had a superpower, what would it be? And I said, if I could have any superpower, mine would be the power of healing, to heal other people. Well, of course, not realizing then what you're saying and then what the spirit realm and what God hears, and knowing our hearts the way that he does also, my life has now turned into one that is really trying to fulfill that legacy of healing. And so I have now started to not only try to heal myself, my family, and other families and other people, but just want to spread as much healing throughout the world as possible, because there's so many people that are hurting for different reasons, as Tina brought up. Not just the grief of losing a child, but it could be divorce, it could be losing your job, whatever it is. God allows different things to happen, and not just because he thinks we're strong enough to carry it, because it's not about our strength. We have to be able to carry it because of his strength. So we have to always keep that in mind. People say God doesn't put on you more than you can bear, but it's more than you can bear with his strength. So I often think back to that and wonder what would have happened if I would have said a different superpower instead of healing, and if that would have changed the outcome of my situation, which I don't know. I just really feel like God aligns things according to his will and not our will or our desire. So, the other thing that I am working on, other than the foundation, the clothesline, and mental health coaching, is forgiveness. And so I just wanted to leave with everyone that forgiveness is something that is for us. It's a work in process. It's not something that you can say, oh, I've forgiven, and then, just kind of wipe your hands clean of it and go away, because there are things that will still re-trigger those emotions. But you have to remember, once you truly forgive, that even if those feelings of anger or bitterness arise, it doesn't mean that you still haven't forgiven. It just means that you're in a different phase, and you need to just remember that I have turned that over to the Lord, and that I have forgiven, and I refuse to let the enemy put that bitterness back in my heart again, because it's truly like, and I know several people have heard this because people say it all the time, but it's like you drinking poison and then expecting that person to die. So that's the best way to explain forgiveness, is that it truly is something for you. Otherwise, it will eat you apart. It's not going to eat them away at all. I mean, it's not going to hurt them. Some people don't even realize they've hurt you in the way that they have hurt you. So expecting someone else to bear that burden, or expecting someone else to actually say to you, please accept my forgiveness, which I did struggle with my son's murderers. I mean, they never looked us in the face. Of course, they never apologized, never even admitted they did it. And for the longest, I kept saying, if only they would admit it and look at me, then I could start to forgive. And if only they were serving life in prison, then I could begin to forgive. But as God has been continuing to work on my heart, it's really not about them acknowledging anything, because they will be judged according to their deeds, independently of what I do. So what I need to do is focus on my healing and my health, and forgiveness is truly taking a choice to want to heal yourself. And that's all that I have, Tina. Thank you again.
Yes, I said, let me hop back on the screen. I'm hoping that this computer will hop back on because it has a mind of its own, this little Zoom link. There we go.
We see you.
We see you. Okay, we see you now. Ah, it's frozen now. It's got my butt up in the air. Not cute. There we go. There we go. Let's put the camera on. So, I think I'm gonna put myself side by side to you too. All right. So Jill, I do want to thank you again for coming through. Each time I see you, I just today I took away forgiveness. I love that takeaway.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking about it, Jill lost 2 of her sons, and I lost 1. And I forgave them. I'm not going to say right away, but shortly after. And what I thought of the children who burdened them. I felt bad for them. I thought of like, what life could you possibly have had that you felt the need to go in and rob someone? And I just kind of looked at them a little bit, not to say I'm excited you did it, but I really like today's lesson of forgiveness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. People are still out there partying in the vending area.
All right.
I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna actually end the Zoom because it's on YouTube. And Mommy, if you want to hear my speech later, we'll just text you, all right? All right, bye, Jen. See you.
Bye-bye. Have a successful event and a
Happy
happy
Mother's Day, Jill.
Yes, happy Mother's Day.
Patty. Bye-bye.
Thank you.